Mr. Smith will now read the mission statement for the Fairview Park Citizens Advisory Committee.
Evaluate the Fairview Park Master Plan relative to community needs and make master plan update recommendations to the Parks and Recreation Commission and City Council for the addition, reduction, elimination, or modification of park uses and master plan elements.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, can.
Good evening. I'd like to start by thanking Brenda Green, staff who helped in gathering thousands of pages of records, Mr. Hatch, and sports organization leaders who graciously met with me and shared their practices and games, as well as concerns regarding being able to continue to best serve the kids and participants of their organizations. I sure learned a lot and appreciate their time and effort. Along the way, I realized that issues regarding field allocation and usage exist and should be properly addressed. The main issues seem to be lack of lighted fields, field condition, and field usage during rest and renovation periods. I look forward to solutions being data-driven, informed, and fair to all. Through this process, a good start was made, but much work still remains. Looking at demographics, that is one thing I examined. According to the information obtained from the Costa Mesa Comprehensive Financial Annual Report for fiscal year July 2012 to June 2013, from 2004 to 2013, the population of Costa Mesa remained relatively constant. In 2004, the population was 113,000, and in 2013, it was 358,000. During the same period, based on information from the Newport Mesa Unified School District, school enrollment has remained virtually the same. In 2004, school enrollment was 21,806, and in 2013, it was 21,944. In 2007, it hit a low of 20,877. In 2011, when the population of Costa Mesa was around 117,000, school enrollment, thank you, was 21,444. So increases in population are not necessarily followed by an increase in school enrollment. Furthermore, census indicators point to an aging population and families with fewer kids. However, still, as about 2,000 housing units are either being built in Costa Mesa or in the works, it is well worth examining population growth and demographic trends as they relate to youth and adult sports field usage as well as open space. So this is something that really requires a very close look to see potentially 5-10 years down the line where it is going. Next is determining current usage trends and future needs. Due to the Fish and Wildlife letter and due to probably how long this meeting is going to be, I've abbreviated my presentation. I'm only including a few items that I sent to the Parks and Rec Commission, but I have more data and more suggestions, but the bottom line is a lot more work needs to be done. This is something that was in the field allocation and current facility outline presented to the Parks and Recreation Commission in February and presented to the Fairview Park Citizens Advisory Committee in April. Also, some of the confusion arose that in some organizations turn in max numbers and some turn in rosters from previous seasons. So it's hard to gauge exactly what the numbers are. That report also stated that all of the athletic organizations have seen significant growth over the past 10 years. As more families have sought healthy activities for their children, while it is difficult to predict future trends in the demographic makeup of the city, we believe that these programs will continue to grow at a more moderate pace over the next 5 to 10 years, and this is also part of the field allocation and current facility outline. So my recommendation was that it would be good to note which athletic organizations expressed a need for additional athletic fields, which organizations got turned away, and which group 1 to 3 users' needs could not be met. Several I spoke with were satisfied with the number of fields they use, but mentioned that more facilities would be nice to have. Also, from my research and meeting with most of the 19 sports organizations, it was clear that not all of them have used city facilities the last 10 years, and that not all the organizations have grown and definitely did not significantly grow. In fact, several organizations stated that their participant numbers have been similar over the last several years, and some also stated that the numbers listed by the city as their participant numbers were double than actual. Several sports organizations, however, did have significant growth over the last 3 years, and it would be helpful to tease out those trends in more detail. So by some of my suggestions to the Park and Recreation, I in no way want to minimize some of the issues that exist and that a need might be there, but I do believe that it has to be based in good numbers. And also from talking with the organization leaders, one of the things that came up was, well, we see the need every day as, you know, kids come and practice and play games. And I saw some of that as well, but it's hard to quantify. It's more of a subjective perception. It would be more powerful to have more objective numbers, but I do want to mention that because that is very important. Oops. So possible solutions, some of the things that came up and have been brought up here by speakers and by committee members are more lighted fields. The Parks and Recreation Commission recommended lights at several fields to be rotated out at 2-year intervals, but the proposal did not get funded, and it is my understanding because it is not city property, it is part of the school district, but I think that's a really good idea. If it could at all be worked out, it would be very helpful. And maybe 1 or 2 artificial turf fields for use during the rest and renovation periods. Some of the park fees from development projects could be used for this, and this could be useful for the summer times or maybe the off times when one or two teams have to practice and they don't have a space to do that. Increased efficiency in field allocation and use. I know it is pretty good right now. I've been to the sports allocation meetings and organizations are very cooperative, but perhaps there's even more efficiency. So I just put that on there. Greater focus on Costa Mesa kids. And this is something hard for me to say, but if there is a lack of fields, maybe that's something that should be considered too. And setting more refined parameters. One of the trends I noticed was that the organized group sports, like, it's gonna get me in trouble mentioning names, but like Friday Night Lights and Matt Leinard, they tend to be bigger and grow faster because, as I understand it, their staff is paid. So maybe setting some parameters regarding that, and more fields at Fairview Developmental Center. So I want to thank everyone for their time again, and I look forward to questions. Thank you.
I asked for a few moments to try to save some people in the room some time and trouble tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with Member Verska, if I may summarize, that this issue needs closer examination. And I agree with Member Cummings that a field trip to Riverside is in order. In order to make a fully informed decision on athletic fields, I think it's imperative that this committee or representatives of this committee conduct the proper due diligence by reviewing Riverside and other parks that have had successes and failures in similar situations and reporting those findings back to this committee. So I am moving at this point to table items 2, 5, and 6, and to direct staff to return in September with recommendations for best practices review of other parks. That's a motion, by the way.
Second by Mr. Eccles. Okay. Is there any discussion on this? Anybody have any questions of the presenter on this case? Okay, if not, we'll ask for the question then. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
Please hold your hands up.
And keep them up for a minute so that Mike can get all of those recorded.
Unanimous? Okay.
Thank you. And the result?
All opposed?
Opposed? Are there any opposed? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Motion passes. Unanimous?
Harold Whitesburg, Costa Mesa resident. First of all, I want to compliment this group for not putting any fields on any of the quadrants yet. I think you've taken due diligence, and I think you've made good decisions in that regard. We're now down to this final quadrant, and I think it's important that we bring it all the way home now. There were some passive ideas on here which can enhance a natural environment, which I think are conducive to that we could take a look at. But I am very concerned, and continue to be concerned, about the idea of having soccer fields in the middle of the trains, on that area, on Fairview Park. I think one of the things we ought to look at, which we talked about in past meetings, is recommending alternatives for finding soccer fields and other playing fields in the city, putting together a task force to look at the Fairview Development Center, putting together a task force maybe to look at acquiring some of the school properties or working better with the school usage agreement, and seeing how we can all work together to accomplish those objectives. But Fairview Park is a jewel, and it really deserves to be left the way it is, with some enhancements to enjoy those experiences, like watching birds, like experiencing the flora and fauna that exist there. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Good evening, committee. Jay Humphrey, Costa Mesa resident. There is no surprise to any of you. I am adamantly opposed to any kind of increase in development of Fairview Park. The only development I think is appropriate is restoring the appropriate flora, fauna, and what have you, and keep it as natural as possible. We've already done certain things to it that can't be changed, but we certainly do not have to do more. So I remain continuously and will be in the future against any kind of increased development in Fairview Park. Apparently, I'm not the only person that has some concerns about that. Apparently, the federal government also has some concerns about that because of the letter we just received relative to the vernal pools and the watersheds thereof and the changing of the hydrology. Certainly, any development of any kind in Fairview Park is going to alter a lot of hydrology and a lot of watershed areas that will feed those vernal pools. Secondarily, not only the vernal pools, but the area that needs to be separated and kept safe is one of those areas that the federal government was very distinct in their comments on. And lastly, people have to start thinking about why the federal government's involved in this. It's involved because there was some taking of an endangered species in Fairview Park by people, whether they're well-meaning or not, who in fact just shot from the hip, just did something that laid down something without appropriate permissions and got the federal government involved. And when the federal government's involved, they usually stay involved till they're satisfied. We have already had significant events happen. I'm waiting to see where those go. But I think that this group should be aware of that, and probably, I think it's a wise choice, Mr. Smith, to put off the items that are going to have the most impact and certainly affect the vernal pools on the east side, which have been told quite clearly that until those are surveyed and everybody knows what's going on about those, that nobody should really be doing much of anything. And that task is not a short period task. So my belief is that at this point, that quadrant, because we do not know what's going on specifically, should fairly well be left to where it is until that survey is done. So having said that, I wish everybody would keep in mind that the choices we're making here can in fact change the jewel that Mr. Whitesburg used the term, and I think he's exactly right. It is the jewel of Costa Mesa, and it's a thing that we can ill afford to just throw away. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Short-time Costa Mesa resident. In fact, I'm from upstate New York. I've lived in Europe for a few years, and I've been all over, and I know that open space is quickly diminishing, especially in our beautiful climate. First of all, I'd like to remind the committee before you waste your time going to smoggy Riverside that the February 27th Parks and Rec meeting, when Mr. Byron DeErical asked Christian Hernandez how many youth sport organizations were turned away from their wish list, given that, more hours than they could actually be there, the answer was none. So I'm sorry, but we don't even need athletic fields, okay? Especially when you let a Group 3 user, City Council, overrides their own policy, okay, and lets a Group 3 user, for profit, take over a field. ASO 97 residency is lessening Costa Mesa residents. 30%, 20%, do we have that data? We still don't. How come we don't have that data? How come the public doesn't have that data? Okay? Let's see, for the fields, page 8. Okay, first of all, this that you gave us, a feasible study for each item on the list for this quadrant will be discussed from an environmental, financial, and construction point of view for the Southeast Quadrant activity completed by March 2014. I want to see that study, okay? I've never seen a study about this. I'm looking at the Fairview Park Master Plan. Okay, so whenever you guys did this behind closed doors, we were never privy to it. Now, all the ball fields, page 8, Fairview Park Master Plan. Time and time again, we tell you, we don't want that. We don't want that. The Fairview Park Master Plan. If you guys don't read it, I don't know why, because it tells you the public, it gets increasingly passive. We want more open space. The design objective, page 25. What was it? Open space. You guys don't do your homework. And you think we should respect you when you've tricked us by mowing vernal pools for 15 years?
Well, I guess I'll concentrate on the fact that there's a lot of misinformation being offered here. Anybody that thinks that there's not a shortage of fields, I don't get that at all. I know that we don't even have adult leagues trying to get fields anymore because they've been turned down from Costa Mesa for so long because the kids get them first, which is the way it should be. But I know that Costa Mesa is not offering as many fields as we need. It's that simple. The school fields are in terrible shape. I know that Region 97 has tried to work with the schools to try and even offer money for them to improve the fields. Because of policies, we can't even give them money or pay for work to be done on the fields to improve them. There's all kinds of problems with policy. And do we have 2 fields in 2 areas with fields on them that are city parks, I think is what it is. For the number of kids, it just doesn't seem reasonable. And then this whole, I actually got onto Google Earth and I have searched the entire city, combing for any available land. So when I hear people saying, well, we need to look for other alternatives, they're not out there. And we have a problem. And I don't see anybody offering a specific solution. I haven't seen one specific solution to, okay, we can put fields here. I do see some potential problems that are coming up on the horizon. FTC may get sold by the state. If FTC gets sold, there goes 3 more fields. There is a shortage now, and it can get worse. And then the trains, I would like to ask that any research that's done to determine usage of, by our children, to be hours per child of usage in the city. That's the way it should be. I myself have taken my kids over to the trains twice. I have had a birthday party for my son's 2nd birthday, and we had a bunch of kids there. And I look at the number of hours that the trains have provided recreation for my kids.
Can we wrap it up now, please?
Absolutely. Compared to the number of hours that my kids receive in recreating in soccer, and I can tell you it's hundreds versus maybe 4. So I think that that's something that needs to be considered. The trains may be servicing 100,000 kids, but if it's only 100,000 hours, that's nothing compared to what the other groups are offering.
You've all been in the seat, everybody's read the Fish and Wildlife report. I say that's quite a damning indictment of the city's handling of the park. As a taxpayer, I'm tired of the amount of money spent, spent on the DG trail, fixing it up. We should listen to the advice that we're getting from the federal agency and make sorting out some of those items a priority, and we should spend our money there quite frankly, before we start spending money on yet more wasted feasibility studies and developments which may well, in the future have to be reversed. Thank you. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Philip Chipman, resident of Costa Mesa for 34 years, and I want to say thank you for having this hearing or this discussion. I really appreciate it, and I like to hear all the viewpoints, especially the last speakers. I was a civil engineer for a little while, and hydrology studies was one of the things I did, kind of loved. And if you study patterns, especially near the bluffs there, that's a very rare site. There's really not anything like it up and down the coast, if you think about it, with the Santa Ana River and the vernal pools. It's very rare. Back Bay is also a rare place, but that's different. It's Back Bay. This is a nice habitat area, very natural. And once you develop it, it'll be gone. One thing I'd like to, and development seems to be a Costa Mesa item. I live on the east side, and I just see so many large homes going in, and it's kind of destroying the east side nature. But I don't want to get into that. I'd like to bring up another topic. It's we're in the middle of a drought, and I don't know how long it's going to last. But once you put in a grass field, it has to be watered. And I don't know if you realize this, but a golf course takes 1 million gallons of water a day. And I don't know how much water a soccer field takes, but I'll bet you it's a lot. So it's not very considered to do this kind of development in light of the problems we're having as a state, and we're going to need that water for the future. One last thing. It's nice of you to print all these emails. I read them all. They're very good. There's 83 of them. 2 out of the 83 are for sports fields. 81 are to save the trains and to make it a nature habitat. And I just talked to Mr. Hitchcock, and it turns out that the train tracks that we have in Costa Mesa are kind of unique. They follow the topography of the land. So the very minimal impact on the current land. So it is its natural self, and I'd like to see it kept that way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, good evening. I'm Heather Lewis-Sebring. Thank you so much for listening to my comments. I'm a Costa Mesa resident, and I have a child. And I'm here because I'd like to advocate keeping the park as it is. There are no other natural spaces in Costa Mesa where kids can see squirrels and rabbits and hawks and lots of really good bugs and snakes and bones and artifacts and fossils too. If you could just walk with some of the children of Costa Mesa into Fairview Park or the Talbert Nature Preserve, you would find out how much they live in that park. They've named almost all of it. There's Dinosaur Hill, there's Clay Canyon, there's the Bamboo Forest, there's the Troll Bridge, the Snake Pit, there's Green Park, and the landing strip, and I'm sure there's a lot more. I have to ask my daughter. I think it's really important that our children get to understand what it is to be human by interacting with real nature, not landscaped greenery with lights. Real nature. This is imperative. There is a nature deficit going on in our country. Populations continue to increase, and it's going to be more and more critical to our basic sanity to have natural spaces. If you pave this over now, that opportunity is gone for us to have that space. If you are concerned that the citizens of Costa Mesa need more exercise, there's a lot of really low impact things we can do while keeping this nature preserve intact. We can have walking tours, nature camps, yoga in the park, field photography workshops, and that kind of thing. I would say that you will be remembered as a hero if you keep this park as is. It is so critical that you take this personal responsibility seriously and protect this park. Thank you so much.
My name is Margaret Mooney. I'm a Costa Mesa resident, and I want to speak again against any sports fields in Fairview Park. It only needs to be restored. We've messed it up. We've brought in the federal government to have to direct us to take out a DG trail to protect vernal pools, and they're still working on the east side. So any trip out to Riverside should be wasted. I mean, the community is saying do not put sports fields on the east side or the west side of Fairview Park. Other audience members have spoken about the use of water that would be necessary for a sports fields, for soccer fields. You know, the federal government is talking about the hydrology that is being disturbed already. We have to let them do the study there, and they're going to say that we do not want fields there. I mean, that's what your community is saying. I would encourage these people that are so dedicated to looking at Fairview Park and looking at sports to go to the city council, go to the Parks Commission, to get them to work with communities to have lights on their fields. There's Canyon Park, there's Smallwood Park, what was the other one? There's several parks in our city that are big enough to have sports there, practice and games, and you work with the communities about what time the lights are going to go off, and you install lights and put money into that rather than wasting people's time with running out to Riverside to look at fields nobody wants. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Amy Tingdon, and I'm wondering about why are we building?
Take it easy. You can do this. I know you can. Just relax a little bit, hon, and you can do it.
Over the park that many people have been going in, I've been going there all my life. It's basically been in. Why are we building over it? It's probably one of the last places left in Costa Mesa that's actually has what place where wildlife can live. There's vernal pools. I noticed on some of the areas it said unused space. That space is actually being used by animals. It's not unused. The whole park is basically a wildlife habitat. Basically, if you're good, and also, why are we building more fields? We already have one that lots of people use. I think almost every day that I go there, there's some people practicing soccer or having a birthday party. A lot of people, the area that they already have seems to be good enough right now. And there's lots of stuff to do anyways. You can walk your dog, use the bike in the trails, or just hang out in some of the areas, or fly your airplane. There's lots of places to have fun, and I'm wondering why. I've been wondering for quite a while why we want to develop Fairview when it's perfect already.
Thank you very much. You did real good. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm Patricia Martz, professor of archaeology and anthropology, emeritus at Cal State LA. And I've been here before to talk about ORA 58. I want to remind you that the Southeast Quadrant contains ORA 506. ORA 506 was separated from 58 by Estancia Road. It's all one huge site, and it is eligible for the National Register of Historic Places, and this needs to be taken into consideration for any kind of development. So I support passive things in the park and nothing that will cause ground disturbance to this very significant part of the site. Now, the Indians didn't live all huddled together in one little area, and this whole part of this site has already been destroyed by the road and impacted a little bit by the railroad, but what's left is very important and very precious. Thank you.
Could I ask you a question before you leave?
Certainly.
Give me the number again that you gave us.
ORA 506. And I was
506.
trying to find, there's a constraint map that is part of your city documents, and it looks something like this. It shows the location of the archaeological site, and it says constraints for development on it. So I'll leave a copy with someone here for you in case.
Very
so you
good.
can
Just
look
leave
for
it here with me if you wish.
I will. I'll find it.
Thank you so much.
Silver Valentin from Long Beach, and I'm also an archaeologist, and I agree and support what Dr. Martz just mentioned right now. I would like to add to the fact, better like that, you can hear me? Okay, good. I would like to add to what Dr. Martz just mentioned, that ORA 58 was placed on the National Register by Dr. Dixon. And the reason that happened was because there were plans to construct houses right on the bluff throughout Fairview Park. So in the 50s, if it had not been for the archaeological site, there would be no Fairview Park right now to even talk about. Developing the southeast quadrant is not a good idea. I'm for just leaving it as is. Sports field, I know it's a great idea, but the fact is, like, in 10 years, you'll need more of them because there'll be more people. But what's left in the southeast quadrant archaeologically, if you construct sports field, it's gone. And that's a big section of the village site. Unfortunately, only one section of the village site is protected. The other section is not. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Celine.
Good evening. My name is Abelia Sandoval. I'm from the One Annual Band of Mission Indians, the Ahashman Nation, the indigenous people of Orange County. And I'm really happy to be here tonight. And I have not been to one of these meetings here before. I've been to many city council meetings in that. But so first of all, I'd just like to acknowledge you as the Fairview Park Citizens Advisory Committee, because that is a phenomenal thing to do, is to advise the city on what we do with our precious lands. And so I'm here to speak on behalf of the tribal nation that our traditional boundaries go all the way to the north, Seal Beach, and all the way south to Camp Pendleton, the Santa Margarita River. So definitely Costa Mesa is of big interest to us. We have tribal members who are actual citizens here in Costa Mesa. So I'm here to just let you know that the tribe itself does not want to see any development on this sacred site, because it is a sacred site in our opinion, and archaeologically a sacred, very sensitive area. I am completely in support of the previous people who have spoken on behalf of the land for no development, and to keep it as a sacred and very special place. One of the things that we are trying to do and being more vocal in the county is to let people know when a sacred site is something that needs to be spoken for, because people don't speak on behalf of the land often enough. And I've been hearing that tonight, and it makes me very happy that people are speaking on behalf of the land, because the land itself doesn't have its own voice. Maybe there are people like the young one who does understand the voice, but most of us don't understand the voice of the land. But I think we need to always remember that we do this today, we do for the generations to come. That is a very common thread that goes through every nation, tribal nation, is that we have to always think about what we're doing today, because what we do today will have a huge impact on people 140 years from now, for example. And so I just really want all of us to really pay attention to that and to consider how precious our land is. And that particular land, Fairview Park, is extremely precious to us. And so I just want to thank you for continuing to protect it.
I'm Stephen James. I'm a professor of anthropology at Cal State Fullerton. I've spoken to this group before. And I want to reiterate what Silver and what Dr. Martz had said, that the Fairview Park was originally set aside to help preserve the archaeological sites that are there. ORA 58 and ORA 506 are part of the same site, the Fairview Village site, and it needs be preserved. It was set aside as open space to help preserve the archaeological site and the natural resources that are present at Fairview Park, and it's in your master plan. So there's no reason to be building sport fields on these sites. And if that happens, it'll cost you several $1 million to do the archaeological mitigation that's necessary to build on those sites, because it is on the National Register of Historic Places. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, thank you for your time tonight. My name is Jill Larrabee. I'm a longtime Costa Mesa resident. There's two issues I want to touch upon tonight. First is, I was really nervous when I drove over here tonight, a little bit sad and frustrated about the state of Fairview Park and the development concerns going on. And I can tell you, sitting in the back of the room, I can go to bed to sleep tonight knowing and reassured that my fellow members of the community are well-versed, they're knowledgeable, they brought great issues to the committee this evening, and I'm so happy that my, members of the community that I love and cherish are so well educated on these issues. Fairview Park is a jewel. I go there with my family often, my nieces, my nephews. We picnic in Talbot Park, which, as you know, has an array of gorgeous, gorgeous sycamores that probably are 30 to 40 years old, probably older. The area is such a gem, and I think Costa Mesa is one of the last unique cities in this region where there's trees, there's shade. Our surrounding neighborhoods, everyone takes down the trees, we pave over things, we build more and more baseball fields, soccer fields that sit vacant, no children playing. Children are indoors. The sun is terrible for children, and we want to take the park, put more fields, and just, once we let that genie out of the bottle, we cannot put it back in. We cannot turn back the time on preserving such a beautiful natural resource. And another subject I want to bring up, and I hope this is acceptable, but it was interesting. On a plane ride up to San Francisco a couple months ago, I was lucky enough, fortunate enough to sit next to one of the developers who was planning on developing the region that's south of Fairview Park, which is all we know as Banning Ranch. And I know some of the developers are here this evening in this room. And he, cavalierly said to me, well, the way to get I believe it's 1,200 homes and a hotel built in Banning Ranch, which is 400 acres of pristine, untouched natural habitat, is to throw a ball field at the city council, give them a soccer field, give them a baseball field, and that's how you get your 1,100 homes and your hotel built in a pristine natural area. So I thank you again for your time, and I really hope that you take our concerns to the city council and really realize how important this park is to the members of the community. Thank you.
Hello, John Rubright, 20-year resident, father of 6 girls, all who played sports in this city. I know firsthand about the shortage of fields because I'm the regional commissioner for AYSO. Those of you that think there are there's too many fields, you're dead wrong. We have to practice with 1,000 kids on 6 fields. 7 if we have it. Soccer takes a lot of field space. If you watch the World Cup, those fields are huge. In order to have a decent practice, you need half a field. We usually practice on a 20-yard by 20-yard area of grass because we don't have enough space. And there's only a few hours of the day that working people can go out there and coach their kids, watch practice, or have games. You can't practice at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because everybody normally works. So when you drive by these fields and they don't have anybody on them, there's a reason. 1, it's probably when people are working. 2, the city shuts down the city fields for rest and renovation. The farm fields, which is an 11-acre facility, is shut down for 4 months out of the year. So when you drive by there today and there's no kids on there, there's a reason. Balearic is shut down for rest and renovation. Everybody says, let's find some place to do it. I've been a commissioner for 10 years. I've been looking for fields, lit fields, for 10 years. I have not found one field that residents say, not in my backyard. Do it at that park. You go to that park, not in my backyard. People, we're trying to do the best we can, but you as residents don't want it in your backyard. We're looking diligently for fields. Like the gentleman said, if you have a viable place for us to look for a field, let me know. I will work on it. But this wish list of FDC being maybe bought by the city, I don't think so. The city owns very few areas of land. So when you say don't do it at Fairview Park, or don't do it here, don't do it there, take in consideration the children that are in this city. They need some place to go play, have a sport to do. If you don't give us lit fields, they don't have a place to go. Because at 5:30 when the time changes, it's dark. What do you want to do, have flashlights? So please take that in consideration before we say there's no fields, go here. I would like to personally know where that field is that you want us to take a look at. Okay? Give me a place. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Cindy Black, longtime resident. I'm a woman of few words, so I'll keep it short and sweet.
Good.
Okay, first off, I wanted some clarification after I'm done speaking by Yolanda as to what number items have been tabled. Secondly, I wanted to emphasize that Fairview Park is not infill property. It is land that cannot be mitigated. It's unique. If you build on it and then change your mind later, that it will never be the same once it's been developed as suggested. Also, fields require water, and we're in a drought. Not only that, is they require fertilizer. And with fertilizer, the runoff creates algae blooms, like what's happening in Ohio right now, which is very devastating. Also, I wanted to ask if the committee members, if each of you received the letter that was put out to the city from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and if so, did you read it? It was very specific as to what they were asking, and I feel it's very presumptuous for you to even move ahead at this point. Also, I'd like to address the elephant in the room. I find it absurd that we have an advisory member here that was responsible for the decomposed granite path, which is Mr. Mensinger, in case anybody didn't know that.
Please, no more names. Okay. Yes, sir. Hi there.
My name is Terry Welsh, and I'm president of the Banning Ranch Conservancy. And for the last 15 years, I've led the effort to preserve all of Banning Ranch as open space. Now, one reason we work so hard at Banning Ranch is because we're trying to protect vernal pools, burrowing owl habitat, and gnatcatcher habitat. And it's gonna be a long effort. It's gonna take a lot of money, and success is not guaranteed. But when we look at Fairview Park, it's been achieved. Publicly owned protected vernal pools, burrowing owl habitat, and gnatcatcher habitat. And I would ask this committee humbly to focus on restoring that habitat rather than taking it away. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry.
Good evening. My name is Keir Oxford Pope, and I'm a resident here in Costa Mesa. I've been here for like 8 years. I'm from England. Growing up in England, we had plenty of natural spaces and parks, and I really enjoyed it being there as a kid. And moving out here, I was pleased to have Fairview Park in my backyard almost. Yes, and I go to school at Waldorf, and the park is sort of close by, and we actually use the space for school activities such as botany and sort of wildlife studies too. Yes, and lady earlier mentioned that all the names of the little areas in the park, and proud to say I named a few of them. And yeah, I'm going to keep this brief and just say that I really appreciate having some sort of natural space. America's done well, certain cities here have done a good job of just creating a concrete sprawl everywhere. And I think it's nice to have just sort of a bit of open, natural space. And I think we'd regret it if we built over the top of it. And also, yeah, I also play soccer. I'm on my high school soccer team. There's never a shortage of fields, as far as I know. The main problem is scheduling. There's always problems with the scheduling, and yes, so I think things like scheduling and lighting should be looked at first before we start just creating fields in natural spaces that should be probably left alone. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Mark Arblaster. I'm one of the founding dads of the Newport Mesa Soccer Club here in town. We're just finishing up our 9th year, going into our 10th year. We have about 250 Costa Mesa kids in our program. We're clubs, so we're user group 3, so we fall lower in the priority as far as when do we get fields, which fields do we get. I'm here to tell you there is a shortage. I experienced it. I've been the president since the get-go. I've driven and walked every single park in the city trying to find that mysterious place that no one knows about that we might be able to practice at. Yes, we get some fields, but we don't get enough. The last 2 months, in summer, like now, everything's shut down. There are no city soccer fields available for us. So I have to send my Costa Mesa kids to Newport. Don't tell Newport. But that's reality, and that's crazy. It's the size of the city. We have no soccer fields available for the locals, and there is definitely a shortage of lights. Looking around this room, there's a big part of this town that is not represented. Where's the Hispanic community? There are very few representatives. What sport do they like the most? Tennis, right? No, not tennis. Soccer. The adult leagues in town have no place to play. They've given up. They've gone elsewhere. But is that right? Is that fair? Aren't they part of this community? And their children, don't they deserve a place? The West Side is very short on soccer fields. Let's consider the entire community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just like to ask you a question. Who is playing on Balearic Field on the weekends?
Yes, that's an adult league on Sundays. They have access on Sunday. But that's 2 fields. Believe me, they could support 10.
Yes, my name's Jim Jones. I'm a Costa Mesa resident. I've been around Fairview Park since '85. Sat in on most of the committees. Been fairly busy this time, so my apology if some of this stuff is redundant. At one time, I thought for my Mesa Verde property values, it would be good that we'd have a sports complex. My kids did play soccer. I have a kid that doesn't play ball sports, and it was sort of pointed out to me by my own kid that the biggest shortage of land that we have is the non-ball sport playing facilities. Back in the 80s, even one of the fathers of a current member of this board suggested to the city that we had a shortage of golf courses, and that should be a golf course. And I've seen the shortage of soccer fields, but we have a shortage of open space. But I'm really here to talk about making sure the city doesn't paint itself in a corner again. I have the city agenda from 11/18 of '02. And in that agenda is a letter from the Department of Wildlife, Fish, and Game that pointed out the issues that you can't do anything because of the vernal shrimp, which I'm not a big fan of, but we took a lot of money to put them there. So they're there. They also point out you can't have a dog park. And I picked up the paper last week, and we're still putting the dog park on the agenda. You can't do that. I sat in on plenty of meetings when the train people were there, and they wanted to put down a 1-foot wide piece of track, and everyone told them they had to dig up the plants and move them 1 foot to the right and put them down. So I'm not sure what we're doing. I think we're painted in the corner already. And I've seen what was that house called? The Hofkraus house. We got the bridge to nowhere. We need to stop. We really do. If you need a copy of this, I can make sure you guys have a copy. Do you have a copy of the October 28th letter from Wildlife, Fish, and Game? We seem to have to pull this out every 5 years for the next committee. Which includes, you know, there's vernal pools on both sides, and it takes 5 years to map them, and we haven't even started the process. And I'm not a big vernal pool fan, so. Do you need a copy of this?
Yes, please do.
I'll send you guys a copy.
All right, very good. Thank you very much.
My name is Anthony Steinmetz, and I live in Anaheim. I'm a member at OCME, and I'm also a first-class scout. If you close down, you will be destroying Eagle projects. And I was already planned on doing my Eagle project here. One thing we learned in Boy Scouts is leave no trace. And I think this is not leave no trace. Leave no trace is leave your area better than the way you came. We must protect the open space and the animals' habitat. There are a lot of animals, and if you close us down, they will lose their home. When I conduct, I enjoy seeing the kids happy and having fun. I already lost 2 of my favorite places. I do not want to lose this one, so please save the trains.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Lila Moore, and one of the previous speakers suggested that more time is spent with kids on the soccer field versus the kids at the train station. And I live close enough to tell you that people are at Fairview Park from dawn till dusk. They are enjoying it, the whole thing. Whereas if you do have the soccer fields, as one of the other men just mentioned, they're out of commission 4 months of the year. So that kind of, I don't see how that works. I would believe you get more people seeing more enjoyment as it is. Also, and I'm new, I haven't been in many meetings, but unfortunately, I get this impression from soccer people that they're entitled to have what they want. And I mean, I want bowling in Costa Mesa, and I want ice skating, and I don't get what I want. I mean, just because you want it, I'm not seeing why they feel entitled to it. Thank you.
Good evening, hi. My name is Matthew Tautimes. I am the son of John Tautimes, elder of the Quiche Gabrielino Band of Mission Indians. I'm also nephew to Chief Ernie Salas Tautimes. I am here to represent our tribe, who is the Aboriginal tribe of Los Angeles and Orange County, from Aliso Creek down south all the way up north of Malibu Creek. We are full-heartedly against any sort of ground disturbance within this area. Just the comments here alone has really warmed my heart, that the voice of our land is coming out through our kids, and that they are seeing the value of this for thousands of years. There's a reason why this is a sacred site, and there's a reason why there's alluvial ponds there. There's a reason why there's this biological diversity that is still existing in today's urban society. Do you realize that in freshwater marsh, freshwater ponds, we have cancer plants, we have flu plants, we have so many plants that will cure our ailments of today that are going to get destroyed and are continually getting destroyed today. Pluchia odorata, I want you all to look this up. Google it, please. Look up antiviral consistency of Pluchia odorata, Pluchea odorata. That is our new cancer drug. All we got to do is look in our own backyard, look in areas that want to get removed, and this is where we're finding all of our cures for tomorrow. My grandmas and grandpas utilized what was on this land, and that land is still providing for us. And yet, the generation of today has gotten this disconnection with our land, and thus a disconnection from the creator of the land. And that's why you think you can do whatever you want with the land. And that's not how it is for perpetuity, for our next generation. If you think that way, that's why we had what's happened today. That's why we are in a drought. All our water was underneath. That's what you're seeing in the hydrology here. This is a perfect example. We have ruined all the hydrology. There was never a desert here. All our grandmas and grandpas had the water underneath ground. That's why we have cities called Fountain Valley, Artesia. Think about it. We have ruined so much of what is here today that the one sacred site that's left, we want to just destroy again and put on something that we have plenty of. And that's not to discount the need for recreational activity, but this type of recreational activity is something unique that no other city has, and that's a sacred site. A site that has bound people for thousands of years to gather and to create bonds and to renew bonds. And that's what this site has for you to utilize. And to have a source for scientific exploration for our kids. This is what our grandmas and grandpas utilized for thousands of years, and now today, generations of today are destroying it left and right. And we ask you to not destroy this sacred site. That's from the Keach Gabrielano.
Thank you so much. Okay.
My name is Dr. Gary Stickle, PhD in archaeology from UCLA, where I also taught. And I have the honor of being the tribal archaeologist for the Keach Gabrielano. This is the original tribe of this area. They've been here for thousands of years, and their sites are testament to their presence here. Unfortunately, the vast majority of these sites have been destroyed. There's been inadequate archaeology done at them. Very few reports and publications have come out of this. They've hardly been mitigated. So whatever left is extremely precious and rare. Now, you just saw the impassioned appeal by Matthew Tutimas, the biologist, trained, just got his master's, I'm proud to say, from Cal State Long Beach, where I also taught. And I taught at the time that Professor Keith Dixon nominated ORA 58 to be on the National Register of Historic Places. The rest of the site needs to be on the National Register of Historic Places. The site is sacred to the Indians. That's what he's trying to tell you. And it's extremely important because not only are there artifacts there, but there's cemetery there, human burials. The vast majority of these cemeteries have been destroyed without any due consideration. I just excavated recently another cemetery, another local city near here, and they wantonly destroyed the cemetery without any proper regard or recovery of the burials. These are tragedies that should be allowed to continue. So I ask you to do the right thing, preserve these people's culture, because they are the heart and soul of this land, and it's been that way for thousands of years. And by doing so, you'll see there'll be great benefits to your people, to your children, to save a little bit of the environment, preserve it for our future people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Terry Copeland, Costa Mesa resident. When I look at the sports fields around town, what I see is cyclone fences, gates, and locks. I don't see sand lots like where we used to play baseball when I was a kid so many, many, many years ago. Not as many as Mr. Pop, but many. The City Council of Costa Mesa, in order to stop Mexicans from playing soccer in a field up in the northern part of this side of the freeway, but north, placed a whole passel of boulders in the park so that it would be a passive park instead of an active park. That precluded pickup games of soccer. It precluded pickup games of sandlot baseball. It precluded races, foot races, just about anything you want to do in that park, except go there, lie down on the turf, and sleep. I look at Luke Davis Field over here. Luke Davis Field is a locked field. Why is it locked? Well, we can't have people running through it and trampling our carefully manicured turf and messing up our ball field. No, why not? Isn't that what parks are for gosh sakes? Okay, so we've got we've got an objection was raised that people are working during the day when these fields are available. You know, it seems to me that when I was a kid, we were home all day long during the summer as kids. What precludes a kid from getting together 4 or 5 or 10 people and going out and kicking a ball around in a field? Is it the boulders? I just don't see that this idea of sequestering land, fencing it off, locking it up, and scheduling its use during about 4 hours of the day during which it has to be lighted so that the adults can supervise the sandlot stuff. I just don't see that that is a profitable deal. And I guess that's really pretty much all I've got to say.
Thank you very much.
My name is Roger Turk. I'm a 15-year resident of Costa Mesa. I wanted to thank you for this opportunity to come and speak. I also wanted to thank Ms. Verska. I met with her at our baseball fields. I'm the president of Costa Mesa National Little League, and we play up by Team Equal Middle School is where our fields are at. I support more fields in the city of Costa Mesa because I think that youth fields enliven the city and they keep the city progressive. We see people who leave our league that go play in more competitive leagues, and those kids don't come back. They don't come back to come to school. They go to high schools elsewhere outside the city, and I think that that's unfortunate because we have a lot of good kids and a lot of families are going to make selfish decisions. They're going to send their kids where they're going to get the best opportunities. It's disappointing being a citizen to come to a meeting like this and hear the vitriol that I hear from a lot of the people with regard to Fairview Park. The people that are involved in sports don't want to destroy the park. It's my understanding that the northeast quadrant is the area that they're looking at. And it's not our objective to tear down Indian burial sites or destroy everything that's there, but we want to enrich and enliven our community, and done in conjunction with all parties as a community. I had no idea, I came to a meeting about 6 months ago. I had no idea that there was an Indian burial ground there. And so I did some more research on that, looked into it. Last couple weeks ago, I live in Mesa Verde. My family walked over to one of the concerts in the park, and we walked through Fairview Park. It's a very lovely park. It's very nice. It's very beautiful. Saw a couple of people walking their dogs in there, which is nice. If it is that sacred of an area, then certain parts of it should be protected or fenced off so that people know what's going on there. As I was walking over there, I saw 3 people that had metal detectors that were going through the ground looking for stuff. And my question is, if it's that sacred of an area, why is it not already protected and marked off so that that stuff doesn't happen? Lastly, when people leave your community for whatever reason, they don't come back. They don't come back for the school. They don't come back for your sports organizations. And that's the part that really bums me out. Thanks.
Michael Verbis. I'm a Costa Mesa resident, family of a father of 4 and a soccer coach here in Region 97. I just want to say that we are definitely in a shortage of fields. We wouldn't be here if we weren't. We struggle every day. Right now we're over at Kaiser School. There's probably 6 teams that are practicing over there right now. And yes, it's after 4 o'clock when everyone's coming home, or that's when the permits start. So when people say, oh, I drove by this park, I don't see anything going on, it's locked. Bottom line is our permits don't start until 4 o'clock, and that's when most of us can get off work and actually coach some of these kids. So that's also when we're going to need lights. So I think it was mentioned earlier that for about 4 months out of the summer, the fields are shut down for maintenance. There's other times of the year when they are too. So bottom line is there's other communities that I'll go and coach at or have matches at where the parks and the fields, baseball diamonds, they all coexist. And I'm not sure why we can't make that happen here in this city, but I've seen it happen in other cities, and it works well. So hopefully we can make that happen.
Hi, my name is Mark Todd, and I'm a 12-year citizen of Costa Mesa, and I'm also a lacrosse coach for local youth sports programs, and I coach over 200 kids from the Costa Mesa area. It's not only soccer people that need fields, it's lacrosse people, it's football people, flag football people, kite flying people, anybody that wants to do something outside in sports, they need it. My condolences is to this committee, because you're really making up for the errors of the committees before you that didn't have the foresight in their urban sprawl, in the planning or mitigating urban sprawl. Right now, so if everybody cogently and germanely spoke about the wonderful benefits of Fairview Park, and I think it's the spectacular points that they brought up. However, if not Fairview, then where? Where else in the city can we go? Will all these citizens who spoke up for Fairview show up to put up lights at other sports fields? If so, then great. Let's all get the city working together. But if not Fairview, then where? Shouldn't there be some kind of balance with preserving the habitat and the sports field, which I think the committee is looking to create and keep that balance? So my condolences to you. I hope you get to the bottom of this, but it's just not soccer, people. It's sports across every season. Thank you.
My name is Colin Brown. I'm a Costa Mesa resident. Opposed to sports fields on the railroad site. I love the railroad, and think it has a unique history. It's an appropriate scale, and I think the open space which it requires supports the open space of the park. I'm in favor of preserving the park's natural habitat and in favor of restoring and enhancing that habitat. I also grew up playing AYSO soccer in the area. I play in an adult league, and I ride my bike right over the river into Huntington Beach, and one of my teammates is actually here. And I guess the point I want to make is that our community doesn't end at our borders, and I believe there are a lot of sports spaces, although it sounds like people definitely want more sports fields. So I think that having more lights for evening games and working with other schools and field areas like our league does is the way to go. And I guess that's it. Thank you for your service.
Yes, my name is Joe Steinmetz, and I'm an Orange County resident. And basically, this is going back to the beginning, and it's again the balance. Going back almost 100 years when the Indians were trying to preserve the open spaces from development, the federal and state parks associations set aside protected lands of that. It then got, in the 50s, after the development of the apartments, they then gave it to the Newport harbors and all that. In 1986, now that once this was a city, they entrusted it to the city of Costa Mesa, 257 acres of open space land. Such things have been done throughout other counties and throughout this county. You look at them, they're all nature trails, they're all hiking, they're all that type of stuff. Only in Costa Mesa is now 210 of it developed and only 40 acres left undeveloped. You want balance, I agree. Where are we going to restore that 210 acres that got developed unrighteously against the agreement that which the city took the property in January of 1986? I mean, it is not open for discussion. It was put down. It was deeded by grant deed to remain open space. The city was trusted with its protection and failed miserably. Now you have a chance to protect what's left of it. Okay, the last 40 acres out of that 257, and maybe look at banning to add it to that to make up for the loss of the other 210 acres. That's where balance starts coming back. There's nothing else left. If history always repeats itself. Look at the fields that are already made. They can't be maintained. You do not have the money to maintain what you have already built. Instead of building new, put lights in what you've already got. The problem with the lights from the communities is you guys are using generators. Those are environmentally unfriendly. They pollute noise and they pollute pollution. Put in standard electric lights that can be up against the houses, that they're not going to complain about the noise and they shine away from their homes. What happens is with the generator, you have to put them away from the home so they shine towards the light. Or you put them next to the home, then they're not complaining about the light, they're complaining about the noise. It's a simple solution, and it will give them more playtime. I started in the 60s playing soccer because I come from a Hispanic background, yes. But you know what? We didn't need perfectly manicured fields. We had more fun playing among ourselves than having a bunch of grown-ups try to make us into superstars. We had more fun playing just for fun. And basically, that's where we had fun, and that's where we went out and did it. I mean, we played football, we played soccer. We didn't need fancy fields, and we were able to do it. I don't see why they need such super fancy fields to play just a bunch of kids having fun. I mean, I don't understand that, especially when it means tearing down more of our natural wildlife. These last 40 acres also are part of the habitat of all the tidal pools, because some of the birds come and nest here that also provide over there, but they can't nest in that wetland. They need this higher land here. So that's why all these lands are set up and protected. And I think we need to look at our history more and try to go at protecting it. I think your names would look better saying, we finally got it right, listened to everybody and protected it, and put your names on protecting it rather than another travesty 20 years from now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, my name's Larry Amer. I lived in Costa Mesa for over 32 years. I run, walk, jog in Fairview Park 6 to 10 miles a day, so I'm very familiar with it, especially between 6 and 8 in the morning. I agree with everybody that has said leave the park alone. I agree with that 100%. And if you go over there early in the morning, occasionally you'll run into the Indian tribe over there that'll make the speech that was made here tonight to anybody that'll listen. And I agree with them. They were here first. Leave them be. But I have a question for you guys, rather than repeat what's already been said. Between Tanager and Golf Course Drive, there is space for 2 soccer fields. And I'm not talking about Tanager Park that's across the street. There are signs over there that say no dog walking, no hitting golf balls, no nothing in that space. Why don't you construct 2 soccer fields over there? Why not that? That's not been used, and that's never been used for anything the whole time I've lived here. And I live in Mesa Verde, just within a short walk of that space. Put the soccer fields that these guys want there. And I notice there are schools around the area, particularly the one at Wilson and Placentia. There are adults playing soccer there all the time. There are other schools around the area that have large real estate, and they're not being used. Why not? You can go around and see. They're not being used. So there's existing space for people to play soccer. And there's that big chunk of land over in the golf course is being used for nothing, that you could put a couple of soccer fields in and then leave Fairview Park alone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This is Heather Lewis Sebring, and just to follow up, if I could, I'll leave my email address. I'd like to see the feasibility study that was supposed to be done in March 2014. And I wanted to say I'm always in the park, and there's a lot of Hispanic people in the park walking and running and really enjoying it. So for the gentleman that said that Hispanic population isn't represented, I see that they're enjoying it too. Thank you.
My name is Lorraine Keene, and I'm here to represent many children that are not here tonight. I was the nation princess of the YMCA Indian Maidens. I sat on the board of directors for 3 years. I've had a lot of exposure to children who love open space, value nature. I don't want to repeat all of what the Native American, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but we taught children the sacred relationship that we have with the earth. And I have a daughter who, it changed the course of her life. She wants to be an environmentalist. We've done a lot with the Environmental Nature Center in Newport Beach, and I know personally hundreds of children that I've spent time with that want open space. I've just recently gotten involved with the city of Costa Mesa. I met with Wendy Lease, and I wanted to see percentages of what makes up the open space here in Costa Mesa, and I was shocked. It was 7%. 7% of open space in Costa Mesa. That percentage needs to grow. I think the golf course was at 9%. So we have 7% open space, for all the residents, and we have 9% of golf courses for I don't know how many residents. So I think that there just needs to be a reevaluation and a rebalance. I don't want anything to happen to Fairview Park. I like some of the suggestions that people had made about maybe looking at some of that land in Mesa Verde and maybe putting some soccer fields there. Open space you can't get back. And I just wanted to come up here and let you know that there's a lot of kids that aren't here speaking for themselves. So I wanted to be their voice and give you something to think about. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm Mary Spadoni, longtime resident of Costa Mesa, and we're in a very unique position to be in a trifecta with Banning Ranch, with Talbert, and with Fairview. And I call Fairview the forever park because that needs to be a forever park. You can't splice it up like a cake and put a little piece there. It's going to disturb the sum of the whole. The open space, everybody that's been here, I'm not going to repeat it, and out of the mouths of babes, have asked you to preserve this park because once it's gone, it's gone. It's not an either or. It's not we're against sports fields. It's that they can't be on Fairview Park. I've read that letter from the Wildlife Association. They are asking Costa Mesa to stop what they're doing and reevaluate, I don't know how many items, an 11-page letter worth. So I don't know how you can continue on making any decisions when Mr. Munoz said himself he had to contact the Wildlife Department to get clarification on almost every item in that thing that they weren't clear about. So I ask you, don't make any decisions and don't do anything that's rash because we've already had our hands slapped and we've already had some destruction with weed killers, with mowing, with improper care of a precious area. So this trifecta, we're a shepherd of our third part of this trifecta, and we need to keep it intact.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
I have that letter, the 11-page letter.
Good.
Was this passed out to the committee?
The committee had the availability online to read that. I read it. I don't know how many of the committee read
Mr.
it.
Chairman, if I may, that letter is available on the city's website, so anybody can read it. Yes.
And that's where everyone should get it from. Because on page 8, it does close that 3 additional vernal pool areas located east of Placentia Avenue require additional surveys to determine if San Diego fairy shrimp and or sensitive vernal plant species are present. We recommend the city delineate the watershed of these 3 pools in the near future and avoid impacts to the watershed areas until protocol surveys, Service 1996, can be completed. Positive survey results may require changes in management actions to address. San Diego fairy shrimp. The city should coordinate adaptive management with the service prior to implementation. Now this letter was dated as received in July 24, 2014. This is as recent as you can get. And this does say, don't touch it. Now, I think that all the children should have their fields. I'm really glad that there are so many of you working on this. Costa Mesa is 16 square miles. We don't have magic. If we can't fit it here, we can't fit it here. I can't be any taller. It's not going to happen here.
My name is Chuck Perry. I've been here since 1956, so probably one of the oldest guys in the city here. I can tell you for sure that there is a need for facilities here in the city. Always has been, always will be, probably. Whether it's in Fairview Park, I don't know. But I think we should consider sharing some of the land there. I don't envy the position you guys are in, but these kids that are in the city need a place to play. And I know for a fact that there is no fields here. Everybody else has said that. You can talk to the coaches. These guys aren't coming up here to lie to you guys. It's a fact. And as far as the elephant in the room, somebody pointed my name out. I was the guy that put the trail in there and had a guy call Ambry from one of the newspapers. He was the guy. He was going to write an article about it. Now Menzinger, he's the third guy. So I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't even own a shovel. So whoever the idiots are that are making these points, they should keep their mouth shut unless they have some facts. And it really makes me mad when people do that. If you have the facts, step up to the microphone and let's all see them. If not, keep your mouth shut. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Wait a minute, wait a minute. So, no.
Can
No.
I respond to that?
No, you may not. No, because I don't want to have a running battle here.
Okay.
You got your word in, and I have been castigated for your doing that, so I don't want any more of that, okay?
Yeah.
So please sit down.
People don't like the truth.
So, okay, let's go on with the next item, which is approval of the minutes for July 2nd, 2014.
I move to approve the minutes of July 2nd, 2014.
Is there a second for that?
Second.
All right, moved and seconded by Mr. Eccles. All right, let's have a show of hands. Those in favor? I don't believe there's any opposed. That looks like unanimous to me.
Motion passed, unanimous.
Old business, we have none. The new business is first consideration here of two items which we may want to add to the list of items that we are considering. The first one for consideration is the community garden in the southeast quadrant. We'd like to have discussion from the committee on this.
Just, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
For clarification, I want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that we're not discussing the merits of the item, we're discussing whether to add it to a future agenda. Is that correct?
That's exactly true.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on the item? Okay, well, we'll call for the public comment on this community garden.
I've sat here and listened all night. Fairview Park's not for the garden.
Thank you, ma'am.
Also, there's a garden on Charlie Street, I believe, and that was supposed to be given to the city, or it was supposed to be given to the citizens, and it has been, I believe, tried to be taken away from the citizens. So what happens if one goes to Fairview Park? It can be taken away, and they'll put some cement down. No, nothing in the park, none of this list, except what's there. Thank you.
I'm also a gardener. In fact, I have a plot at Charlie Street, the Charlie Street Garden, and I agree with the previous speaker. Fairview Park is not a place for a community garden. A lot of the plants that people plant in their vegetable garden plots can be very seriously invasive in wildlands, and it's just not a good place for it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello again. Thank you for sitting through all this committee. This has been a fascinating evening.
You can say that.
I think it beats TV any night. This is the reality show I prefer. Anyway, the previous speaker just made one of my points, is that plants can escape from community gardens through seeds, roots, birds, however, and travel to other places in the park where they're not appropriate. I don't think anything like this is appropriate on Fairview Park, and I'm a big fan of community gardens. Another reason is that they will attract wildlife that will become dependent on the things in the community garden instead of their natural foods, and that's not a good thing either. And they may attract wildlife that doesn't even belong in the park. Thank you.
Yes.
I'll make a motion, we add the community garden to the...
Do you have a second for that?
I don't know.
Okay, there's no second, so it dies for lack of a second. Consideration of next will be a native plant nursery somewhere in the southeast quadrant. Any discussion from members of the committee? Ms. Black would probably like to speak to this, so please do, since this is your item.
See me jumping up and down? Yes, I think that we do need a native plant nursery to help restore Fairview Park, and I went out and walked the area this week to look for a good location, which I found 3, and I'll talk with the city about what would be acceptable.
All right.
But I think it's very important to help to restore the habitat that's been lost and neglected.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to add the native plant nursery to an upcoming agenda item and be researched further.
Thank you, Mr. Eccles. Is there a second for the motion? Mr. Ambergy seconds the motion. Okay, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor of adding a native plant nursery for consideration at the next meeting, raise your hand. Okay, those opposed? Motion passes. We'll go to number 3, Recreate Heritage Native American Village. Is there a discussion among the members of the committee? Yes. Yes, Mr. Cummings.
We heard a very interesting spectrum of input from the Native American community tonight. That was something new to me, and I appreciate them taking the time to be here. The idea behind this item is that maybe it'd be possible to create a learning center in some sort of a recreation of a Native American village if there's concepts that could be put together to do that. And it seemed like that would be consistent with the Native Americans who were here, and that would give recognition to that community. You know, it'd give a place where the rest of us, kids and adults alike, could learn about it. Thank you.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Anybody on the committee want to discuss it any further? Okay, I'll ask for public comment on this item.
Cindy Black again. While I was out there looking at a nursery site, I also envisioned a train ride going through there that had an educational aspect on the history of Costa Mesa and going back in time, like starting with maybe Goat Hill and then going back and having like a little Native American village. I think it would help emphasize how important Fairview Park is in our history.
Adelia Sandoval from the One-Andy Mission Indians. Yes, this is fascinating to me. I don't know how this got on here, but I like the direction that you're thinking in that you don't want to bring the heritage of the people of the land to the forefront. However, it's also a very delicate thing because, once again, we're talking about how do we deal with this land, which is, do we even touch it, so to speak, wanting keeping it. And creating a village, even though, it's actually could be pretty invasive. if you, we've done it. We've created, Santa Fe Springs has a beautiful, if you've ever gone to their, they actually have a train there. If you've ever gone to that village, you should go and check it out. It's actually gorgeous. They spent a lot, I think it's been more like $1 million to build that village. And they maintain it, and it is utilized, and it's incredible. But I don't know, that was not a sacred, sensitive area where they put it. So I don't know. That would be really something that would have to really be investigated very, very clearly. And but I always think it's really wonderful that you are looking in that direction. But again, nothing there. Again, we're talking about a burial site. We're talking about archaeological, very sensitive area. So that would have to be hugely discussed with the people of the land. Did he leave already? Oh, yeah. The Keech tribal member is not here. So and if we were to go that direction, definitely you would have to consider talking with the tribal members, because we would then coach you on exactly what would need to be done, because it's extremely important, because we are California Native peoples, and a lot of people don't know what California Native peoples do as far as what they were utilizing in that, because people think Indian, they think drums and and tomahawks and that. California Natives are not like that at all. And so definitely you have to do your homework with that regard. So
thank you.
Rick Hogan, Costa Mesa resident. I remember an episode of North by Northwest wherein a young kid goes to a member of an Indian tribe and asks him to teach him how to make the duck flutes. And the guy says, well, why do you want to? And the kid says, well, which would you rather see, a condor or a picture of a condor? Now we're talking here about essentially a set of billboards that describe what our opinion is of the Guaneños and the Achachiman and all that good stuff. And it looks to me as though it is just way, way too artificial. Which would you rather see, a condor or a picture of a condor?
Steve Pope here, just a quick point. If Fairview Park was 4,000 acres, maybe this would be appropriate, but it's not, and it's desperately short of space. Developing anything of any size, and this would have to be large, in my opinion, relative to the size of the park, is a no-no. So it might be a good idea, I just don't think it fits in the park physically.
I just wanted to remind the committee that on page 61, the historic village is already talked about, alternative 2. So if anybody had read the Fairview Park master plan, that should be included in the agenda or stay as it is. Thank you.
Jim Jones, Costa Mesa. I think that's what you have estancia adobe for. It gets used maybe 2 hours a month. You have the Historic Society, another empty building, and we have the Veterans Hall down here that's also empty. I would seriously focus on estancia adobe. I think you could put a good history around it. It's used 2 hours a month. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's just easier to sit. Sandy Johnson, Costa Mesa resident. Don't put a building up, maybe footprints, but not a building. That's what we've been talking about. Leave it like it is. And no disrespect to anyone. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We've had public comment. Is there a motion regarding this item? Yes, Mr. Cummings?
I would like to move that we advance the Native American village idea to the next level of study. That's not a commitment to build it. It's a commitment to look at it, to see if there was a site. The site might well be in a different quadrant if you were going to do it. I move that we advance to the next step with it.
Okay, we have a second from Mr. Ambergy. Came in loud and clear there. Okay. Let's have the vote then.
Is there any discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're going to have
Yes.
discussion?
Okay. Yes, we will have discussion if you would like to.
I'd like to. I'll be opposing that. I believe if we go into the park and plant, say, wild oats in one area and wild mustard in another area, 10 years from now, when the next committee meets, they can change. Once we put down any kind of a building or any kind of a major study session, especially when it has ramifications for having coordinated through the tribes, the next committee is not going to be able to move that. So even considering this means that we are considering an absolutely permanent, for the rest of the known history of the park, study session or Native American village. And I don't think it's well enough presented to even consider for further discussion, so I'll be opposing it.
Thank you, Mr. Pop. Is there any other member that wants to discuss the item? Okay.
Yeah, I would, what I visualize is the concept of Ms. Black was talking about, of having it next to the train station and starting out, and you could do like a history of how we started here with the Native American village and then progress through Costa Mesa, how it was in the 50s and 60s, and have various stations. That's the only thought I had.
All right. Without further ado, let's go ahead and take the vote. Those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Those opposed? Didn't get them? Sorry.
The motion fails 4-2.
I just, a few things hearing from the public tonight, and first and foremost, I want to thank the young lady and the couple of young men to have the guts to even come before the committee and share their opinions is phenomenal, and they did a great job, and I love to see youth get involved in civic engagement. So really appreciate them and their parents for bringing them over here. A couple things that I heard tonight. First, Ms. Hendricks mentioned specifically about AOSO 97, about a specific number decrease of Costa Mesa residents. Don't know where that came from, down to 25 or 30%. That's just not at all accurate. Costa Mesa residents historically over the past 10 years has ranged anywhere from 48 to 52% of our member populace, and that just hasn't changed. So wanted to clarify that. Also, shortage of, a member of the public made a comment about shortage of fields and open space. Probably true. And here's an opportunity to have open space and portion out some of that to solve the problem of shortage of fields. Someone else mentioned Lions Park being locked up, and has nothing to do with trying to keep kids locked in and all that. Actually has to do with safety concerns, and since our region has used Lions Park, there's been issues of drug paraphernalia, among other things, when children are present, so that's why the fences would be there, which led to more free play. Free play, our region, AOSO 97, tried to institute a free play program. Loved it. We pushed it hard as heck, trying to get it done this summer. No field to do it on. We had several hundred kids wanting to do free play, no coaches, no referees. Free play like I did when I was a kid. No field to do it on in the summer. Now, I love the promo for soccer and the marketing of soccer, which is great, but Coach Todd made a point that there's other sports. There's other kids who do multiple sports. There's lacrosse, there's girls field hockey, there's football, there's a multitude of sports. And I made a presentation a number of months ago showing just with soccer, we are at 90% capacity of the fields that we have in this community, including district fields, which are PE fields. 90% just soccer. So to hear we don't have a shortage of fields, I guess if there's no other sport, then maybe you're correct. Fairview Development Center been brought up a lot. That's great. It's a wonderful facility. It's already being used. It's permitted out already. And again, the city does not manage, own this facility. It's run by the state. The state could sell it, and guess what? State hurts for money. We all know that problem. They're going to sell to the highest bidder. Think it's going to be the city of Costa Mesa one day? I don't know, but the fields are already being used there. They could actually be taken away. Another speaker made that point, furthering the problem. Love to hear about turf and lights. Mr. Rubright brought up earlier, he's been doing this for 10 years, and I've been doing it for a little short time, about 7 years. Every single year, and before my time, 15 years ago, we fought for lights, for better facilities. All those school district fields that we have, they're PE fields. They're not properly maintained. We have injuries every single year because of potholes and everything else. I'll finish up. For all those people who argue, let's put lights here, let's put lights here, please join me when I go before Parks and Rec Commission and argue for lights in the east side of Costa Mesa. I would love to see you out there. But I've seen many of you who say that, who have spoken against my application for lights. Can't have it both ways. Thank you for the extra time.
Mr. Amber.
I'll try to be brief. I say it almost every meeting. The total area of the park is about 208 acres. We've addressed the other 3 quadrants already, so we're down to the last 40 acres, which is approximately 20% of the total park. And that's the only part we're talking about possibly doing fields on. We hear the speakers come up and they make it sound like we're trying to pave over the entire park, and that's just not the case. what we're trying to do here is have a balance of some kind. So some of us that are for fields, that's the way we look at it. And once again, I'll mention that I live by Tewinkle Park, which is an active park, and I would hope that some of the people in the audience go by Tewinkle on a weekend afternoon. See how many people are using that park, enjoying it with their families, running around, having fun, all kinds of activities, and then go by Fairview at the same time and see the difference. I mean, it's night and day. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Ambergy. Mr. Smith.
I'll be brief as well. I didn't know what to expect coming in here tonight. I just wanted to thank everyone for your patience and your civility.
Mr. Pop.
I'd also like to echo the applauding the young people who came here and testified. It's really nice to see young people getting started and getting interested in their government and in how things get done and in public service. So I'm glad they showed up and they did a great job.
Thank you. Mr. Davern.
This morning when I was hiking at Fairview Park, I ran into a gentleman, Chris Pena, and I told him I was on the committee, and I asked for his thoughts. And he emailed me today, and he wrote, "Thank you for taking time to speak with the people of the local community about the improvements to Fairview Park area. As a local resident in Costa Mesa, I'm concerned about the lack of park area and facilities available here on the west side. Too often I see teenagers and their young siblings hanging out at the park being inactive, smoking pot, selling drugs, and loitering. I believe this is from a lack of opportunities and active programs that encourage and motivate these youths. The worst part is that are influencing the young kids by exposing them to their behaviors. These children need direction and support, someone in their lives that uses the power, positive, encouraging words and behavior to motivate them to be more engaged and hope to see a better future. Through sports and positive role models, these kids could begin to believe differently and eventually behave differently. At Pure Games, we provide positive mentors who champion the development of child's self-esteem, inspiring them to believe in themselves and their possibility for a better life. Our vision is a community of children, youth that realize their potential, contributing to the community as young leaders, and making positive choices that reflect their unique strengths and possibilities. We currently work with Shalimar Center doing soccer program in the street, but are looking to offer more programs in Costa Mesa. The challenges have been access to soccer fields and communities in need. Costa Mesa has several pockets of underserved, at-risk children suffering from the effects of impossible neighborhoods, gangs, drugs, lack of parental supervision, lack of programs that give these kids hope for a better life. In the city was to place a soccer field in Fairview Park or adjacent property by Goat Hill Junction. Pure Games would be able to offer programs to local communities and kids and provide a safe, positive atmosphere for the kids to learn and grow. So that was from a walk this morning, just talking to a citizen. So I think you made a good point.
Thank you. I have nothing to say. Mr. Munoz, you want to address anything at this point? Okay, City Attorney, we have a report?
I have nothing this evening, thank you.
All right, I'll call for adjournment then. Thank you all. Thanks for all attending and for your input. Appreciate it all.